Every time it gets either really cold or really hot, we do focus on the power grid. Can it hold up?
Yeah, so ERCOT is the agency responsible for regulating the grid here in Texas, and they did issue a weather watch for the week ahead. Cleo Green is in studio this morning, keeping an eye on conditions as people hope to keep the heat and the lights on. Cleo.
Oh yes, Mark Hare, good morning. You know, ERCOT, they issued this weather watch because they want people to know that they are expecting a higher demand on the grid, but everything's okay. It's winter time, there's a cold blast, and they are anticipating that Texans are going to be pumping the heat. So let's take a look at the supply and demand graph this morning. This is in real time right now. If you're new to North Texas, we never want to see these two lines touch, right? These are supply and demand lines right now, letting you know what's on the grid, and everything looks good right now. In fact, if I follow it till about 11 o'clock tonight, when temperatures probably drop even lower, we're looking good. These lines are not touching. All right, let's talk about that weather alert once again. If you're new to North Texas, ERCOT, it stands for the Electric Reliability Council of Texas. And this is the deal here with this. They issued this weather watch for today till Friday to account for higher electrical demands and a potential for lower reserves. But they're not worried about anything. We spoke to Doug Lewin. He is an energy consultant, and he basically said, hey, it's wintertime and this cold blast, it's normal.
I think if we weren't all so tuned into this would kind of be a big nothing burger. I think, you know, it should freeze in the wintertime, right? I mean, we should get a freeze every year, at least a couple of times, if for no other reason to get rid of the mosquitoes. Mid-20s shouldn't be too much of a cause for concern, but I think we're all so scarred by what happened in 2021. Everybody's on pins and needles, and that's understandable.
Yeah, it's understandable, but this is nothing like 2021 at all. But that's going to be a new word for me, a nothing burger, okay? It's just really cold out right now, and we are expecting people to be pumping the heat. Coming up around 6 o'clock, we're going to talk about supply and demand over the next 6 days. But first, let's get to our Chris Sadeghi out there in Dallas at a spot that I think a lot of people might be going to this morning.
Yeah, Cleo, we want to keep our homes safe and warm. Same thing goes with our car, which is why when you go out this morning, you might find your tire pressure gauge is on. We see this whenever we have that dramatic drop in temperature. We expect tire shops like this one might see people pulling in, make sure their tires are inflated, but really, it's just as easy to do yourself as long as you have a pump of some sort. You can check to make sure the proper inflation, it should be on your tire somewhere. Also, typically you can find it on the inside of your door jamb. I checked this one, it is 35 PSI. Now, why is it important to have your tires inflated to the proper level? Because in conditions like these, it can take you longer to brake, especially if the roads are wet. It can cause you to skid a little bit longer than you typically would have. And also the lifespan of the tire can be decreased if you drive on it when it is not properly inflated. So take care of your tires. There's also some other things you'll want to make sure that you take care of to winterize your car and keep it running safe. The National Weather Service recommends having your battery, antifreeze, oil, and wipers all checked by a professional. For your tires, you do want to check that tread, make sure that you get a new set of tires if they're near that limit. They can help you out with that. Test your headlights and your tail lights in case they need to be replaced. Finally, be sure you have an emergency kit in your car if something were to happen, worst case scenario, and you end up stranded or waiting for help. So it is definitely worth the extra time. If you have time this morning, swing by an auto shop, have them check those things out to keep you running safe. Mark, back to you.
Hey, great information this morning, Chris. And of course, we've got all the resources that you need to get through this first freeze of the year right now on our website at WFAA.com. We've also got a list of warming shelters and more advice for protecting your home from this Arctic freeze.